I'm joined now by Frank Darabont, director of The Shawshank Redemption. Frank, it's a whole gang of guys in a prison. What was it about that original novella by Stephen King? Because I've heard it said many times, it doesn't look that filmic, the potential. But obviously you saw filmic potential in it. What was it that you saw?
You know, I found the story, Stephen King's story, so compelling, really, and so touching.
Yeah.
That to me it was just natural as a movie.
I'll ask you in a moment about the fantastic central performances, but it strikes me that as well as all the great human performances in it, there's also like an extra cast member in the prison itself, which is absolutely crucial to the whole movie. Yeah. And it's this wonderful disused correctional facility in Mansfield, Ohio.
Yeah, it was a very oppressive place to shoot a movie. People would say, you know, you feel the sadness in the place, or you feel the ghosts in the place. Yeah. You know.
Those two central performances, you really, as a director, I guess, could not have asked for better performances, could you? Although I know you were instrumental in drawing them out of them. But in Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins, I mean, particularly Tim Robbins carries himself with a. I think he said he wanted to play Andy Dufresne as a guy with a secret, and he has this real quality of enigma about him, doesn't he, in the movie?
Yes, he does, and he has a real quality of enigma about him as a person, where you're not quite sure what's going on behind the guy's eyes, you know. Yeah. And you're always sort of trying to have to figure him out a little bit, because there's this intelligence at work and you don't quite always know what it is. And Tim is like that, for himself. I can't imagine anybody else playing Red but Morgan Freeman. He was written by Steve King as a white Irishman, a white Irish guy. Yeah. In the story, so Morgan hadn't really popped into my head at any point until it was suggested, and I thought, wow, he's got enormous gravitas and dignity and integrity, indeed, which is why I think he became such a perfect choice to guide us through this place and to introduce us to this other man that he befriended.
Shawshank is a great story. It also is part of a great story itself. It's become a great story in itself, in that the reception initially in cinemas wasn't that great, was it? And yet it's now routinely voted as one of, if not the greatest film ever made. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Isn't that lovely? We came out in '94 and really, as you say, had trouble finding our audience, getting people to show up. And then from '94 to '95, we became the most rented video of 1995. Just boom, boom. And then that word of mouth from that audience started to grow and grow and grow. And what's really bizarre is that that momentum never seems to have died out. No. It's just kind of continued, which is wonderful. It's a fantastic vindication, really, for the film, isn't it?
And now the great, I mean, it's, for one thing, a worldwide internet cult devoted to the Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, I know.
And here's a theory or a line of thinking I'm sure you'll have heard before. A long-suffering guy, wrongly persecuted at the hands of religious zealots who are also fundamentalist lawmakers. Was the story of Jesus Christ in your mind even remotely when you were making the film?
Yes, the little, you know, in some measure, the religious parable of it, the parallels, did occur to me, but not quite to the degree that's been read into it. And you know, suddenly I'll read something like, you know, Tim has a line in it where he says, well, you know, and I use this library to help a dozen guys get their high school diplomas. Well, that suddenly the symbolism of that becomes those are 12 apostles. And I think, boy, that never occurred to me. Not a million years did that occur to me. But that's the pleasure for me of making a film that has some interpretation.
Last question then, Frank. Do you ever get sick of being asked about the Shawshank Redemption? Do you ever think, enough Shawshank Redemption already? I've done some other stuff, you know.
No, more.